Hi, everyone. Good evening. So, as you all know, my name is Jen, and I have been an Edwards patient since 2010 when I had my second open heart surgery. And that used to be more astonishing a few years ago before I turned 40. People used to go, oh my goodness, you had 2 open heart surgeries, and I've since had a third. But at the time, I was 24 years old, thereabouts, and that open heart surgery, which was a heart valve replacement surgery, did exactly what it was supposed to do. It allowed me to go live the rest of my life, and I'm so grateful for that. It allowed me to finish graduate school, meet my eventual husband, and then eventually go on to work at NYU Shanghai, and then NYU, and now Sonoma State University. But what was so interesting was that I had kind of forgotten my heart valve because the surgery was so successful in 2010 for a few years. And then one day in 2013, when I was visiting my parents during winter break from NYU Shanghai, I had a little extra time on my hands, and I was between projects, and I thought, you know, I probably should know a little more about this thing inside me. And I was approaching it from the perspective of an artist and a poet, just really curious about, like, what is this thing that I can't even see? So I turned to Google, and I typed in heart valve manufacturers, and Edwards Life Sciences came up in the Google search because my parents live in Southern California, pretty close to Orange County, where I actually grew up. So I found the phone number for Edwards. I called, and I just said, could I learn a little bit more about heart valves? I noticed you had some kind of heart valve museum on your website. I'm really curious about this. I had open heart surgery, and I'm pretty sure the receptionist must have gone, I think this is a really important phone call, but at the time I was interpreting that as, I hope I don't come across as like a little bit zany, you know, who's this person calling to ask about heart valves? But I was eventually put in touch with a wonderful woman named Sarah Huo, who asked me, are you an Edwards patient? And I said, honestly, I don't know. I didn't get any information about my heart valve after my surgery. I just had the surgery and moved on. And so she looked up my name in her system, and it turned out that I was in fact an Edwards patient. And within the span of 24 hours, Sarah had gotten back to me with the invitation to not only come to Edwards to see this museum that I had asked about, but to also actually get to meet the people who worked on my heart valve. And at that point I thought, wait a second, people made this? It was so wild to me that this thing inside my heart had been made by human hands. And it shouldn't really be that surprising, and I'm sure all of you in this room working in medicine go, of course it's not surprising. What are you talking about? But to me, it was astonishing. And that astonishment kept unfolding from that point. So I came to Edwards, and I was led through the museum, which was very interesting, but then I was led to a more interesting place, which is where the valves are made. And through these large glass windows, I was able to look in to see rows and rows and rows of women who were looking through microscopes, sewing with latex gloved hands the device that was inside my heart. And then it became even more astonishing to me when Sarah said, and a few women are going to come out, they worked on your valve, and you'll have the chance to meet them. And when I came face to face with these women, what totally amazed me was that not only were these people who worked on my valve, but they looked like they could be my mother, my aunt. Many of these women are Asian American. My mom is Chinese Indonesian. And I thought there must be a connection here. And you know, there was a deep connection for me personally. My mom grew up as a seamstress in Indonesia. She trained as a seamstress. She doesn't drive in Southern California. We took the bus everywhere. She just never learned. But I had thought at the time, oh my God, if my mom had learned to drive, she would have worked here. This is her community. And so as time went on, I knew that I wanted to get to know these women more. Our meeting was so brief. They were so warm, so kind. And a year later, Sarah invited me to attend Edwards' inaugural Patient Day, which has since become a huge program, and I'm so proud of Edwards for that. And at that time, I was able to bring my mom to Edwards, and my mom was able to very briefly meet a few of the women who worked on my heart valve. And that was so special for her. And we left thinking, oh my goodness, wouldn't it be so nice to get to know these women more? So I asked Sarah, would it be okay if my mom and I brought some lunch one day and had lunch with a few of the women who worked on my valve? I had learned that part of the experience of being a sewer at Edwards was that women like to make food for one another, and there was a break room where they would share in a potluck style. And Sarah checked, and she came back to me and she said, yes, absolutely, this would be so nice. And so my mom made some traditional Chinese Indonesian foods. I begged her to do this. She goes, why don't we just buy them? And I was like, no, let's, like, maybe this is an opportunity for you to share some of our heritage with me. That seems kind of important, right? So we brought these foods and we had this beautiful lunch, and we got to know these women more and more. And those relationships have since extended. We've spent Thanksgiving with one of my sewers, Mary. We've spent the Lunar New Year with another sewer, Angie. They text, we call, etc. But at that lunch, we were sitting in a circle, and I really felt like I was connecting with my aunties. They were sharing wisdom with me. I was engaged at the time. They wanted to know about the wedding. It was so fun. But then the subject of Mike Mussallem came up. And all of a sudden, everyone in the room turned into a fangirl. Oh my goodness, Mike. Oh my goodness, Mike, you love Mike. No, you love Mike more. No, you love Mike more. No, you love Mike the most. Oh my goodness, yes, Angie loves Mike the most. Angie loves Mike the most. It's true. And I thought it was so sweet. We were having this really sweet, intimate moment, and it was about their boss, the CEO of Edwards Life Sciences. And then Mike appeared. He stopped by to say hi. And everyone really turned into a fangirl at that point. And phones came out, and selfies were taken, and portraits were taken, and it was so fun. And at the end of that lunch, what I walked away with was not only a deeper connection to these women who made something that I will never get to see, but keeps me alive, but I came away with a sense that where they work, where they spend their workday, is a place where they are treated so well, is a place where they are seen as human. And that is so much because of Mike. And so I am so honored to introduce the recipient of the 2025 Pantheon Leadership Award, Mike Mussallem. Not only has he been instrumental to my life, he has been instrumental to the lives of many heart valve patients around the world. And so I invite you now to enjoy this short video.
I've had the privilege of working with Mike Mussallem since the very beginning of Edwards Life Sciences. Back in 1999, when the world was preoccupied with Y2K, Mike was focused on spinning off Edwards from Baxter Healthcare. Over the next more than 20 years, I watched him build not just a company, but a culture. His leadership has been a constant in my career and in the lives of so many at Edwards.
I think Mike also led from his heart. And I think that's what created this very strong passion and connection to making a difference for patients. Mike has this extraordinary capability to engage with people, with all stakeholders, from people in his company, from the shop floor to the boardroom, to patients, to doctors, to payers, to government. He engages with people, and I think that's a key talent, leadership trait that he has.
But he is a pure, selfless, humble leader of people, and he leads with his passion for the business to do well and for everyone around him to do well also.
Mike always reminded us that when we keep the patient at the core of everything we do, the right decisions become very clear.
He's looking for durable, sustainable, meaningful, impactful change in the way technology is presented to patients that affect long-term patient outcomes.
What we see today, 15, 18 years later, structural heart disease is a massive category. It's diversified, of course, into multiple valve areas. It all spawns from that initial passion that Mike had and the risk tolerance and the vision to just say, you know what, I'm going to make Edwards the leader in that space.
Edwards would not be Edwards without Mike Mussallem. That's just very clear. His strategic simplicity, his strategic focus, and the ability to stay the course in the name of innovation and in the name of patient care is second to none. Right? He's willing to take measured risks, and he's willing to stay the course, even when it's clear that there's pressures from the outside and from the inside of a company saying, you know, let's look a little bit shorter term.
Mike's impact is everywhere, with our patients and their families, with underserved communities through the Edwards Life Sciences Foundation, and our talented employees. His legacy is not just in what we do, but in how we do it, every single day.
And his impact is felt in our industry well beyond just Edwards Life Sciences. He's an advocate for the industry globally. And so the work he's done with regulators and legislators, government officials to advance the state of our industry has an impact for everyone, not just for Edwards.
Mike, I just want to take a moment to recognize the kind of leader you are. You set a standard that inspires all of us in medtech. The way you lead, through both your character and your actions, elevates the work we all do every day for patients. It is a privilege to have been part of this journey with you. Congratulations on this well-deserved achievement.
Unfortunately, Mike was unable to join us in person tonight, but this community and industry have meant so much to him over the course of the years. So he's recorded a short message of thanks to share with you all. Thank you.
I'm sincerely moved by this honor and recognition from the California Life Sciences. My relationships with CLS goes back quite a ways. I served as the chairman of the California Healthcare Institute back in the 90s, long before some of you in this audience were even thinking about a career in life sciences. And as some of you may know, the California Healthcare Institute eventually became part of California Life Sciences, so you could say I've been around long enough to see the organization grow up, find a partner, and change its name. But what's stayed the same, of course, is the unwavering commitment to innovation and patient care. In accepting this leadership award, there's a few thanks I'd like to offer. Thank you to my wife, Linda, whose years of consistent support have often gone by unnoticed by everyone except me. I'm also grateful to the remarkable team at Edwards. It's been a privilege to stand shoulder to shoulder with people who are motivated above all by the desire to help patients. Their unwavering focus on improving the lives of patients and their families always made me look good, and I am deeply grateful for their partnership. And of course, a heartfelt thank you to CLS for this award. I deeply appreciate your recognition and the important work you do to support and advance the life sciences community in California. California has long been a place where people have come to pursue big dreams and turn bold ideas into reality. Way back when, people were coming to California in search of gold, digging in the hills and in the rivers. And today, you might say, we're still digging for gold. But it's the kind you discover in research labs and clinical trials that change lives. It's this spirit that has made California a world leader in scientific and technology innovation. Throughout my career, I've loved my job and the whole world of medical technology. I was always all in, driven by the opportunity to make meaningful difference for patients, and the patient community has been my greatest inspiration and motivation. It's been a real privilege to enjoy a career where the result of your work is that patients and their families have better and longer lives. I mean, really, how cool is that? These days, I continue to support initiatives focused on innovation in healthcare through the foundation that Linda and I have founded. We are particularly excited about the work we're doing through the Mussallem CHD Alliance, our new initiative focused on transforming congenital heart disease. I welcome having you all follow our journey as we take on this tough but rewarding job. And at the heart of all these efforts, of course, is our commitment to supporting and empowering the patient community. I believe that our work is never truly finished, and there's always more that we can do to make a difference. So in closing, to all of you, do not underestimate your chance to change the world for patients. Dream big, and don't let fear of failure slow you down. There's nothing easy about it. It's really hard, but the opportunity to improve the lives of patients and their communities is a powerful motivator. You can do it. You will do it. Patients need you. Thank you so much for this honor.